and welcome to Wrestling. And this week we are going to talk about wrestling and a whole lot of stuff. We've got New Japan, we've got Sting, we've got WrestleMania, we've got multiple wrestlers have died, believe it or not, sadly, and we can even talk about CMLL this week. And with me every week, of course, or every other week when we do this, is my amazing co-host, Justin, at In-Ring Art. Justin, how are you?
That's nice of you to call me amazing. You're amazing, too.
I feel like I always try to have a good adjective, you know?
That works.
I should throw in my creative co-host.
Oh, that'll work, too.
But you are called at Ring Art. You are an artist. What kind of art have you been working on lately?
Since we talked? I have a variety of things going on. I am glad you asked.
Let's see. Let me go to your Twitter.
No, you should go to my Instagram. That's a little easier.
Your Insta?
Yeah. That's where they're all laid out.
Let's see. I think I asked you this last week if you were drawing any shoes.
Yeah, I think the last one I did was the Bread 13s, but we looked at I think last we did the Hinare.
Okay, yes. So here's the weird thing about that Ricky Steamboat. This is like so weird. So like the day before you played that, I watched that. It was like 91 Survivor Series or
something like that. Yeah, or maybe he was like WCW by then. But yeah,
I said that in Twitter. But, like, it was so strange because I had never seen that costume in my life, which, for listeners, it's Ricky the Dragon Steamboat cosplaying as an actual dragon with, like, the big scales on his back. And I had actually never seen that before. So you had seen this as a kid and remembered it, or what?
I honestly was just commemorating the Year of the Dragon, the Chinese Lunar New Year. And it's the Year of the Dragon, so I just did that.
But how did you know that he had dressed as a dragon?
Because he's Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Yeah, but you didn't... Okay, but did he do that a lot?
The fire-breathing thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you look up,
This must have been a WWF thing, right?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, Vince is probably like, he's gotta breathe fire, you know?
Yeah. Okay, because I was like, I'm used to seeing him come out with the baby, with the headband, you know.
Right.
He's like the most lovable person in the world. I'm not sure. Yeah, not used to the fire breathing. So it was kind of a coincidence. I had just actually watched that. And then you got the Kamaitachi, or otherwise known as Hiromu.
Yeah, Will Ospreay.
I see you did a picture of Konosuke Takeshita.
Yes.
And he's got a little tiny, like, mole on his nose, right?
Yeah, he does.
Something I didn't notice much until you brought it to my attention. My favorite work that you did, and of course you did one of... Is this a new Stardust or an old Stardust?
That is the first picture of Stardust I've ever drawn.
Okay, because you were not drawing by the time Stardust was done, right? Or...
Yeah, Stardust was probably long done. He was, because it was like 2020.
Do you think Stardust will ever come back as a joke? Because remember they did John Cena, came back as like the Doctor of Thugonomics.
You know what? If it's something to honor his brother, then maybe. God forbid, if anything.
Okay, but that's it, though?
So.
You couldn't see him doing it ironically?
I'll never say never. Like Vince McMahon always taught us, despite his bullshit. Never say never.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of stuff he taught us.
At this time, I don't see any like logical reason, or I don't even think Cody would ever do it again.
I guess you're right. Well, that's the thing too. It's like he's probably slightly embarrassed by the whole thing.
I mean, and you know what the thing is? Like, he did a tremendous job in that character. You know what I mean? Like, you could never tell that he was pissed about it.
He did the best he could, bro.
Yeah, I'm not saying it was a great... Like, he was very good. He was good at it. He was never... he was like...
they were tag champs, okay?
Yeah.
I'll put it this way. They were tag champs, and that whole division was absolutely horrible. But
well, they missed the chance to put the two of them at WrestleMania, too. That would have worked.
I didn't hate them as tag champs, but
no, I didn't.
Also, you never knew, but also, who were they feuding with, like Epico and Primo? You remember those dudes?
Yeah. Selling, like tourist packages to Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, it was an interesting time, but you're right. I remember seeing him on interviews, and he had to play a character, but I guess, a good worker will take their gimmick, even when they hate their job, they'll take it to the fullest. Maybe I should take that personally. Maybe I should do my job gimmick to the fullest.
Yes, you should.
Anyway. Yeah. I really love, you drew a picture of, this was random, of young Dominic Mysterio playing PSP.
Yeah. See, and I that was one of my most liked. Sometimes it's like the most random stuff that people like. I can't predict it. Sometimes you'll draw something like, no one will give a shit about this one. And then all of a sudden you're like, what the hell? And then there's other ones where like, you're just like, okay, this will kind of be funny. And it might get a little bit. And they do,
Well, that one's just hilarious to me as a gamer because PSP is a real weird system too.
I loved my PSP, man. I had it when I was going to college. And I used to get the movies for it. Like, I would be watching Kill Bill in between period. And, like, the little video, like, the movie.
Okay, that was pretty advanced, actually, the movie, because that was before smartphones, and so you could just sit there and chill on some movies.
Yeah, you can totally watch a movie on it. And then they were very easy to jailbreak. And just put a shitload of games
and I remember that. Okay, so that's where we're on the same page here, is that they are legendary for breaking them and or cracking them, and yeah, I remember by like 2010 the PSP people were telling me like, no, you gotta buy a PSP Go, jailbreak it, and I already had bought like multiple PSPs and fucked with them, and I remember they were great. Then they were one of the first gaming systems, portable gaming systems with Wi-Fi, and so you could like, I remember I would like park in apartment complexes, pull out my PSP, and I'd be sitting there browsing the web and making phone calls. You know what I mean? This was pre-smartphones, so that was actually a great system.
Remember, it was my college buddy. Like, I got one because I had a car accident where they totaled my car, and like a year and a half later, some drunk driver plowed into my parked car and totaled it, and they ended up paying, like, that person, they had to track him down to get my deductible, and about a year and a half later, I got $1,000 from the deductible. So like, I went right to Best Buy.
So you got a PSP?
I bought a PSP and like games and everything. This is like,
you know what, the
2005, 2000, I don't remember, something like that.
No, the exact same thing kind of happened to me, except without all the trauma of having my car destroyed. That happened my senior year of high school. I got my car totaled. But, I remember in college I got that, that student loan extra, what's it called? Surplus or whatever?
Something
Which
like
nowadays, like, you and I would immediately put into the bank and be responsible with. But I remember back then I was like, I am going to buy an iPod Photo. It was the most advanced thing you could possibly buy. You know what I'm talking about? iPod Photo.
I don't remember iPod. Oh, okay. That I see.
It was the big iPod. Still, it was the first big iPod with a color screen.
Got you.
Basically,
I mean, I had the iPod Video, like the one that they shoved the YouTube shit onto.
Oh yeah,
that was the screen still had the knob, the round knob.
Yep.
And then
you still had the knob thing.
That shit was so good. I mean, I had every Always Sunny in Philadelphia on there.
Damn. Well, I ended up settling for an iPod, whatever it was, mini, black and white at the time.
I had
buddy.
I had a mini video one for a minute, and then I stepped my game up and got the bigger one.
There you go. Yeah. Good old times. But we weren't
I am
watching wrestling
borderline
back then.
looking at those PS Vitas just for fun. I wonder if they're any good if you get them jailbroken.
Oh, PS Vita. No, it's not that they're bad. They are amazing systems. It's just there wasn't enough support for them.
Right.
So you could do way better buying what I have, a 3DS XL. Those easily. My 3DS, now you can't play all the videos on them and stuff, but my 3DS XL, I've got thousands of games on it, dude.
Yeah, but
from
can you
Super
put like
Nintendo.
Can you put like PS1 games on it?
It's not strong enough to play PS1.
Okay,
but
so that's
of
why I would
course
get a Vita.
The Vita, no. See, now that here, let's take a step further. It's the Steam Deck now. The Steam Deck is what people buy, dude.
Yeah, but that's
because
like $500 or $600.
You don't have.
Right?
Yeah, but like I said, the 3DS XL, those things are going for like $200, $300 broken right now, bro.
Well, I'm not
like,
getting one of those.
Like
but I can get a Vita like for $150.
Hey, if you want to play that paper game, what was the paper game? It was like
Paperboy.
It's like no, it was like a folding kind of where you played as paper characters, and that game was great. I think
Paper
there was a God of
Mario?
War on there. No. This is a Sony, dude. We're talking about. It's called like Torn or something like that. Torn Away. And then you have your God of War, all sorts of good stuff. There was one game on there that was like a Monster Hunter type of game called like Tokido or something, Todoroki, and that game was awesome. No, I liked the Vita, but it never, it was only around for a tiny bit.
Yeah, so not a big library.
Not a big library at all. But yeah, good stuff. But you weren't, of course, we weren't into wrestling when the iPods first came out, so we weren't listening to wrestling podcasts in 2004, right? Or you were in college in like 2000, right?
No, well, okay. I took a long time to get my degree, so I was in college from like 1999 about 2007. It took me a while to get my degree. So
that's not uncommon.
I remember just playing NHL 07 on that thing, like crazy.
Oh,
I had the NHL 07. I had. Did I have?
I did Tony Hawk. I did Tony Hawk, Tekken, Dark Resurrection.
They came out with a Silent Hill game.
I remember specifically my brother had a sleep study. And he let me play his PSP, and I played Parappa the Rapper all night.
I had Parappa the Rapper for it, absolutely.
So it was good memory. But I had Final Fantasy, all the Final Fantasy.
I remember this memory of Maria at the time had this Isuzu Rodeo, and the window got broken, and at her apartment complex, at the apartment complex we were living at the time, it was a very shady area. And we decided that we needed to spend the night in the car because, we didn't want someone breaking into the car. And I just remember watching Family Guy on the PSP in the car.
How did you have the UMDs or did you hack?
I had a bunch of UMDs, and there was even a like Fry's Electronics. You remember that place?
No, I've never been there, but I know what it is. It's like a Best Buy in other states.
They used to have, like, the UMDs would always be really cheap there. You can get some, like, obscure, weird movie on it for really cheap.
Well, and then you had the used places. Like, I'm sure Amoeba was selling UMDs at one point, right?
There was a lot of them and then, like, towards the end of the system's lifespan, they were always cheap, and it was fun. But also towards the end of the system's lifespan, you could just download them online and put them onto your eventually you just But I liked the UMD disc. It was different and kind of fun to pop in.
Hey, I'll tell you this. We talk about Sony, and of course we're totally off track from wrestling right now. But you talk about Sony. I don't know if you know this, but the mini disc was like one of the most influential systems in Europe. Actually, remember the mini disc?
Yeah, first time I went to Japan, I literally almost bought one of those.
And then also, when was the first time you went to Japan?
2002.
Okay, so when you went to Japan, I don't know if the game was out, but the PSP was extremely popular in Japan. And it was Monster Hunter. And supposedly that was like a whole, you'll never know in America, but I've heard like back then, just kids would just be playing it everywhere, playing Monster Hunter, and
Yeah.
they'd have to use like a claw hand to play the game properly.
I don't know what PSP's.
So.
I guess it was released in Japan in 2004, so it was a little. Before,
Was it?
Yeah. 2004 in
I feel
Japan,
like it was
2005 in the United States.
Okay, that's later than I thought, but yeah, good stuff. It was a good system in Japan. I'm sure there were people playing it in Tokyo.
I mean, it's
sure there were
definitely,
people-
you know, one of the best handheld systems ever. That was exclusively handheld.
It was. I feel like it never got its due in America, but it was popular. But I would also rate the DS above it, the DS Lite, the Nintendo DS Lite.
I mean, yeah, but no, like you could never play at the level of games you can play on the PSP.
No, like Tekken, God of War, Chains of Olympus.
Yeah.
Well, it was one of the first systems that really brought a home system to the handheld. I will say that.
Absolutely.
It was like one of the first.
And if we want to talk about kind of the layout of a Switch is very similar to a PSP. With the the very horizontal screen and also Game Gear was fun too back in the day, but that's a whole different topic.
Yeah, well, a whole different topic because Game Gear had like 12 batteries you had to put
56,
in 4
it was like a boombox, and I had one. I had a Game Gear. And
it really took the lithium-ion battery to change the whole game.
And of course, you can talk about Nomad and all that stuff, but Neo Geo
Atari
Pocket was awesome.
Atari Lynx, actually, the Wonder Swan in Japan was incredible and popular. But
I had a Neo Geo Pocket.
And Neo Geo, if you play King of Fighters Pocket, you could play the card
the
games.
one where it had
all
the
that
King
shit
of
was
Fighters, and it was like the cartoonish King of Fighters characters.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And the Street Fighter guys.
Oh, Capcom versus SNK.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
I
That's
worked
good
at,
stuff.
I
Well,
told
you know-
I worked at a video game store for a while. Did I tell you that?
Well, and I
did,
think
right?
you had mentioned that before.
I worked at
Yeah,
a
I
video
think you
game
had
store
mentioned that.
from
Which one? Like a local?
It was like a mom pop one. It was
Okay.
It was called Games for Less, and I worked there from the fall of 1999 to about 2002, middle 2002.
Wow. So the PS2 launch era.
I was there for the PS2 launch. That was crazy. Dreamcast.
Dreamcast came out on 9/9/99.
I still have a Dreamcast in my closet.
I think we've mentioned that many
Yeah.
times. One of the best systems of all time.
Absolutely. Life-changing. Influential. Underrated in terms of the influence on modern-day gaming
And hardware.
and hardware.
Unique hardware.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and Japan had a lot of that stuff, very influential stuff back in the day. There was, influential stuff. Most of it came from Tokyo, but there were offices in some places like Osaka, maybe Beppu, and of course in Sapporo. And that's where we're going to focus on right now. We're going to eye into Sapporo, as some people call it, Sapporo, whatever, because we have had a couple New Beginning shows from New Japan.
Yes.
And very unique booking and results. So let's hone in on this. Have you seen the main shows from the main matches from these shows?
Yeah, I saw. I caught up on pretty much everything. I tried to watch one of the. Well, anyway, I pieced it together when I had to, but I did watch.
Well, first of all, I want to ask you: did you see this match? Because I didn't. Mayu Iwatani versus Mina Shirakawa.
I did, and I thought it was good. I don't remember
Some
it.
people said it was the best match on the show.
It probably was. That night one was a little rough.
Well, there was a major reason for that too, which I think is the House of Torture issue, the House of Torture problem. And I guess it's just get right into it, where it's like, I don't know what to say, dude. You got like people saying, oh, in Japan they love the House of Torture, but these fans were not giving heat. The fans were not hot. And that's another thing I'm starting to remember, dude, Japan. And I'm starting to, now that COVID's over, or excuse me, COVID restrictions are over, I'm starting to remember that you'd have these random Japanese shows where the crowds would totally suck, dude.
You know, I feel like, you know, they only, you know, when they go to the obscure places, the crowds have been a little dull. I mean, you still get your good crowds at Korakuen. And
yeah,
you know,
Tokyo and Osaka are pretty normal.
Seems like everything in between is, you don't know. It's just not very lively usually. I mean, Sapporo's crowds were okay, but they definitely were like no reacting to House of Torture for sure, especially since they pretty much
it was
won
House,
every match.
and even Nick Nemeth, like, which we'll get into. Like, I feel like,
well, that's
they
just
did
them
not know who the fuck that guy was.
I don't think they knew who Riddle was either.
I don't think they knew who Riddle was. By the way, I don't think we talked about the show before that. Maybe we did. I don't remember. It was the New Beginning in Osaka. But I will say, I don't know if we talked about it, and I don't want to go in too much on it, even though I thought it was generally... Well, actually, it had one of the best matches I've ever seen, which was Zack Sabre versus Bryan Danielson. But did you notice that one Japanese dude in the crowd? Did you hear that guy?
A bunch of Japanese people in the crowd.
No, he was like, Kenta, 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 by himself for 10 minutes straight.
Maybe. I think so.
And then he tried to do, oh, Zack Sabre Jr., and no one knew what he was chanting. And he did it.
Some white dude.
Oh. No, dude, he had like a thick accent. I think it was like a drunk-ass Japanese smart.
Maybe it was that cameraman that Kenta's in love with.
No, he got a holy shit chant. Or no, he got a this is awesome chant going, which was cool. But like, nah, I just didn't know. Do you remember the story of do you remember the story of the old Stardom show with like the Western fan that came in there and tried to do holy shit, all this stuff? Did you ever hear that story?
No.
Yeah, years ago there was a Stardom show, and yeah, you had like one white dude in the crowd who was so obnoxious, just chanting each and every, you know what I mean?
They need to bring back those Liger videos where they tell you how to behave.
They do. Oh my god. Well, we need two things. First, we need the Liger videos back where they show you what to do and what not to do. No, it says you're not allowed to get too fucked up, right?
Yeah, they were great. I felt they even played it when I went to the G1, that era.
Yeah, when I see him, I was like, oh shit, okay, now I know.
You know, and maybe just like they could do something with Taguchi showing us his butthole and saying don't act
and
like this.
He'll be wearing, and they could be all wearing like a you know, old Japanese clothing, like kimonos and stuff like that. But yeah, and the other commercial we need back is we need Will Ospreay explaining to us why him playing the card game, New Japan card game. Do you remember that? He was like, Hiromu's crazy.
Oh my god.
My team's called Diablo Loco because Hiromu's crazy.
Isn't it weird how you can have some nostalgia about those things? I mean,
well, they're honestly, so repetitive.
You were pretty much telling me about like me watching Saturday morning cartoons when I was a child by bringing those up. I got this giddy feeling.
I know, it's like, I remember that. There was another one too that was during the pandemic. You had this one commercial, and I don't remember all the quotes, but it was basically Tanahashi like flirting with the girl. And that song that played every commercial for months and months and months. Just
when he was walking, it was for the store.
When he's walking,
Yes.
Yep, exactly. When he's walking and like he's like, hey, or something. I was just like, God, they played that commercial.
Time. But you know, and do we really feel nostalgic about those commercials? Because they don't play shit now, to be honest. But
you know what I'm saying? I kind of miss the commercials a little bit,
the budget
actually.
To pay for those?
I hope not. Okay, that may be true.
This is a preface for my next question, but the first thing I will say is, do you think we also fondly remember those commercials because maybe the product was a little bit better back then too?
Well, not necessarily.
And the second part of my question is, how long has Bushi Road been the owner of New Japan? Is that been a while?
Yeah, I don't know. Let me check on that right now.
Just
First of all, I'm going to say,
when Bushi Road took over, did they say eventually, like, we're not going to pay for those stupid little interludes and shit? But because did Bushi Road develop the card game and all that shit?
Okay, they must have. So they bought New Japan on 2012.
Oh wow. Okay, so never mind. Well, I know that Bushi Road has been
January.
Bushi Road as an overall company has been not good lately. I guess, you know, they've had some flops recently with their mobile games. I don't know if the New Japan product I think has been pretty steady and okay with them. But they've had their stock has apparently not been good lately because of
I will say this:
games.
their mobile and their video games and collectible card games, except Card Fight Vanguard a little bit, are very Japanese orientated. Weiss Schwartz also is a little bit popular in America, but like, there's not much crossover there except the hardest of the hardcore. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't think a ton of our friends are playing Tante Opry Milk Holmes.
Well, I mean, I don't really necessarily think they need an American audience to be successful at that shit. I mean, you can play Milk Holmes.
Probably right.
You know, whatever you called it.
Probably right. I'm trying to see what else. They bought New Japan Pro Wrestling, Stardom, which that's a whole thing too.
Yeah,
Stardom having major issues.
Stardom's having major issues. I was listening somewhere and they were talking about how New Japan had a rough fourth quarter, but they kind of always do because it's, kind of, dead time of year with like World Tag League but there's
this is what I want to know though. I want to know something from you, or maybe if Maria needs to make a quick comment. I've heard that like the yen is like losing value.
Okay, so I'm going to credit this. I was listening to not Super J Cast, but Keeping It Strong Style. I don't know if you listen to them at all.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard them.
So they actually had some insight on the Japanese economy that that was shared about how the yen is weak. The stock market in Japan is actually doing really well right now, with the exception of maybe Bushi Road. But basically what they were saying is the yen is strong because during the pandemic and during those hard times, they lowered interest rates dramatically. Mm-hmm. And that has given a boost to the companies and people trying to, do stuff. There's actually a lot of their businesses are booming and products are booming because of that.
Okay.
But they didn't really say it like this, but like, to me, if it's cheaper to borrow money, then maybe that devalues your currency. If your money is cheap to get, meaning low interest rates, maybe that devalues your currency internationally, I would say. I don't know. But
yeah, and we
didn't do that here. We actually have really high interest rates right now, which, because it's harder to borrow money, it's more expensive to borrow money, wouldn't that theoretically make your currency more valuable?
Well, and there's so much. This is such a complex issue. Obviously, neither of us are economists, and neither of us like to talk too much
just
about things.
But it's just really, when you hear that the yen is strong, is not strong, doesn't necessarily mean that it's that the economy in that country is struggling necessarily. I guess is maybe the point.
That is totally true. I'm reading stuff that I don't even understand. The yen, and like you said, it seems like this is clearly post-pandemic. Obviously, it's 2024 now, but seems like it's something that's happened because of some, 2020, 2022 stuff. It says this is partially attributable to the Bank of Japan's monetary easing policy and yield curve control. Not really sure about all that. But like you said, the economy could be doing well.
I can ask Maria if she's heard that. Maria, I was hearing some stuff about the Japanese economy, but it's okay.
He's asking his Japanese. Okay, she's busy right now.
Yeah.
But it says that this. I'm reading too. This is not the worst thing, and it's probably here to stay.
Yeah, I think it's good for the people and the businesses there. And then, I don't know. I think if people go to Japan because the yen is not, strong, and they can get more money to go there, that's good for tourism in a way too.
Well, of course, us being a wrestling show, I'm interested in how that will affect wrestling.
Well, anyway, it has a lot to do. I mean, we're going to talk about New Japan because that's, of course, we got to build a WrestleMania and stuff, but who cares about that, right?
Well, we have some stuff we're going to talk about on that too, but we've
been up front and honest to people that New Japan is our favorite promotion. And but also, this show, we're probably sitting here right now.
This show is also not just about Japanese wrestling or wrestling in general. Obviously, people know that we both are kind of weeaboos and we're not watching lolly fucking weird shit like that, but I mean, we both, we both enjoy Japanese video games and Japanese culture. We just talked about Japanese electronics for the last, 20 minutes. So it's just interesting in general. Okay. Moving on from that last match, how did you feel when Sho beat El Desperado? That one got me.
It really bothered me because who wants to see Naito and Sho? I mean, you already took away a chance for us to see Naito and Hiromu, which we were cheated of 4 years ago because of the coronavirus. And
don't even remind me.
And, but I love El Desperado.
And Naito looked awesome.
What's that?
El Desperado and Naito sounded awesome.
Right, I was just going to say, first that was kind of taken away, and I love El Desperado as one of my probably top 5 favorite wrestlers in the world, no doubt. But so when that happened, I'm like, you know what? El Desperado Naito actually sounds pretty awesome too. Let's roll with that. And then that bozo wins. And not only that, but you've seen the matchup graphic they're using now. It's got him going like covering his mouth laughing, and Naito. It's like, what are we doing? Like, do they want to sell tickets to these things?
Dude, and that's kind of what I'm saying. Also, the other thing is, like, I'm the type that I want to like most things in wrestling. Like, a lot of, you have your haters that are like, oh, this is going to fail. It's like, bro, I want I'm so happy WWE is hitting, like, I love talking about Cody and him fulfilling his dream and this and that, and it's working and all this stuff. But, like, with New Japan, it's like, I want to see things going good, but this weird stuff. It's like, in entertainment, like, one of the goals is always to play off of expectations. Well, whatever.
Or basically, what I'm trying to say is, like, want to a degree
is because that whole, sometimes it's better just to do the obvious, and this one was a little too much of a swerve. And the same thing with Shota versus Evil. I was like, oh my gosh, bro, I mean, this is going to be Shota's big coming out.
With the Evil and one of your young stars you're branding, and he's losing to Evil when you have a chance to kind of lift him. And not only that, but you had to run back a lazy Sonata and Naito match again. Like,
and that was the next night, but
he's hurt. Allegedly, Sonata was nursing an injury that he suffered in the Wrestle Kingdom match, or maybe even after that. But like, what are we doing here with this stuff,
on that same night? Well, if it's even him and not other people,
I think there's a committee now. Allegedly, there's a committee. And
God, I don't want to say Tanahashi. I don't want Tanahashi's name involved in this type of stuff. But speaking of Tanahashi, him and Matt Riddle, it was okay. Tanahashi didn't look that great. He's injured, right?
he looks real banged up, and let's not to
He
say.
looks super banged up.
I mean, we've seen him struggle for the past 3 or 4 years, or even more, maybe.
No, but there's a difference
Where
between the in-ring and
him
like walking
down
to the ring all
he
fucked up.
doesn't look very sharp, and
Yeah.
also like, don't forget, like, you know, him getting up the ropes. It always looks like a little bit of a struggle.
It gets worse and worse as the years go by, bro.
It gets worse and worse as the years go by. I mean, and you know, it just sucks that, I mean, you see it, but I mean, it's funny because when he was doing it 2-3 years ago, he would still be able to dust himself off and give you a big match. He would be limping in the ring, and all of a sudden he would still put it together. I think those days are now, you know, numbered. I mean, I still think he can give us another handful of great matches, maybe, but now it's looking like Father Time is gonna eventually, you know,
especially with his move set. I mean, with the frog splash, or excuse me, the high fly flow.
Yeah.
And his, you know, he's got this dynamic move set. The freaking big, not the twist and shout, but the sling blade. You know, these big pop up moves and stuff. It's like, Now there was actually a time, I think it was a couple months ago, where he had to run to the ring to defend someone. Oh my god, bro. Like, I am a fat white dude and I could outrun this motherfucker.
I mean,
like,
there was, how do I say this? Like, there was a time where he could just turn it on when he needed to, but of course coming down the ring he wouldn't look great. And it's starting to catch up now. And the thing is, like, I don't know if you ever hear, like for example, a baseball player that's like a really great hitter that is, let's say, a catcher, like Mike Piazza, for example. What you do with a guy like that, because a catcher is such a punishing job physically, right, is maybe about halfway through your career they'll switch you to like first base or the outfield, or you just be a DH, and they take you out from not catching
so you can still
have
bat
a longer career. And especially if you're a good hitter, they want you to preserve your knees and stuff. It seems like Tana maybe could have, you know, pared down some of those explosive moves to prolong his career, but he just wasn't willing to do that.
No, wasn't willing to. We'll see. He is out for a while, and that's probably for the better. But in his place as champion, we have Matt Riddle. Now, how do you feel about this whole Matt Riddle talked about using cocaine in front of the belt? Because just what do you know about that whole thing, or do you, care?
I did. I think they had to know. I mean, New Japan has not been shy about using guys that have a shaky reputation. I mean, they tried to, bring back. They tried to do Marty
Scurll.
Yeah, and that blew up in their face.
Yeah.
Who else are we talking about that they've brought
there
in?
There was one other, I don't remember, but of course we had the
Chase Owens, another guy that's had some accusations that they continue to use. Chris Dickinson, they tried to keep using him.
Oh, as well. Shit, bro.
And now he's off the face of the
totally
earth.
Forgot about him.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay.
And then Matt Riddle. I mean, Matt Riddle probably, he had some allegations with women that weren't so great. I don't know if it was
like this whole there was a lawsuit and it was dropped. Who knows?
They're all dropped because you just give them enough money, and that's, they don't want to go through the whole, bringing themselves through the ringer and everything like that. But also,
I want to say this, like people. Of course, people glorify cocaine and stuff like that. I think it's kind of loserish to be an athlete and be talking about and be having to have cocaine as a coping mechanism. Don't get me wrong, I drink and stuff, and I'm not saying that's the best thing either. But just hearing him say that stuff, I was like, I didn't think it was horrible, but it was just like, really, dude?
I feel like he was, there's a kind of a 3-level thing with him. It's, first of all, let's just say, very talented in the ring.
Yeah.
Has a very unique, presentation and move set, and he does some amusing things, entertaining. Even throwing the slides off is.
I thought the match was pretty good,
and the match was pretty good, but he's he just leaves the wrong bag in his luggage, and he's going to jail over there. He's a bit of a risk to fly over.
I guess a diva is a term that we could use there.
No. I don't want to say that he has a bad attitude or anything. I mean, the guy's a recreational weed smoker. That's his character. I don't know.
It reminds me of I got sexually harassed at the airport. Like, he made this whole video.
I forgot about that.
They sexually harassed me, and he had other stuff like that, complaints. Of course, he had that whole Goldberg, and then Brock Lesnar, and it was kind of.
I didn't really mind that stuff. I thought that was kind of cute.
Okay.
But when you're when you're involving real innocent people or just civilians in your bullshit, that's probably where it gets bad.
Yeah. So, but I mean, he did. That is why he seemingly was let go from WWE, and maybe he's the type of dude that just doesn't fit into that system, and he'll find his own way afterwards. But he was fairly successful in WWE, and I still. Do you remember when they did that? That's him and Seth Rollins in that really weird match. What was it, dude? Was it like a special cage match with a platform cage?
Where he was, he was telling him his, family left him and he's a piece of shit, Rollins was, or whatever. And he got real pissed, Riddle, and they were doing that kind of side-by-side video interviews.
Oh, yeah. I remember they were kind of copying the MMA stuff that John Jones. Okay.
I mean, his stuff with Randy Orton was. I thought he looked like a moron with the scooter. To be honest, I thought it was. Really silly.
That was pretty lame. That was pretty
silly,
lame, actually,
and kind of stupid. But that whole dynamic with him and.
That seems like a Vince thing, though. I don't know, bro.
Oh, it was, but I understand the dynamic of those two, and it was a little amusing. I think it was obviously over exaggerated to make him look like a complete bozo, but he's a great fighter.
There might have been a little bit of truth to that rumor. No one said he was the most smartest guy in the room. The smartest guy in the room.
Yeah, so
we'll see.
Do you think if they had known that he was using cocaine, they would have threw him on a plane? I don't know. Probably.
Yeah, probably they would. I've heard people say New Japan doesn't care what people do in America for the most part.
In America.
But if you do something in Japan, you are fucked.
Taka cheats on his wife and he's banished for 3 years.
Or someone brings a vape pen, and drugs especially. That's what scares me about Riddle. Drugs especially are
like I said,
he
can totally pull a Brittany Griner on accident.
Oh, God.
So he comes back from the Indies and he doesn't repack his bag properly.
Matt Sydal, we'll put it that way, right? He doesn't and then he's in fucking Japanese prison for the next 2 years.
Yeah, that would not be good PR for the company, so he's definitely a risk. So
no, that would be horrible. Hopefully no one shows him about a place called Roppongi.
Well, yeah. But anyways, be careful with them, guys. I don't know. It's hard. Now,
the more we talk about this, I think it's maybe bad that he's going to Japan. There's so many vices there that
they gave him a goddamn title too. And do you think part of that was because Tana was like, I'm banged up, I gotta lose this match?
That's what I start thinking now. I'm starting to think that maybe he was like...
Is there not someone from the House of Torture that can come and pin him?
Well, we definitely don't want that.
Don't we need the Tokyo Pimps to come and be the TV champ?
Here, you just said it. Yoshi, put it on Hashi.
I'd
I would
rather.
have been totally okay with that.
Oh yeah, sure. Why not? Isn't Goto banged up anyway?
There you go. Put it on Yoshihashi, dude. Like, he can go nowadays. He can be a TV champ and do his 20-minute matches.
Do we
Totally.
have I'm just thinking who the tag champs are. We got Kenta and Chase Owens.
I don't like that either. That's a whole weird thing. Like, Kenta just didn't seem like Kenta that night. Not much charisma. That was so random. But another kind of thing I thought was a little bit random, and not so much, was Nick Nemeth versus Finlay. And I thought this was actually a really good match. I think Nick Nemeth actually, it was like, oh shit, this guy can actually like legit go. He really wrestled really well.
We were mentioning at some point, maybe in our illustrious history,
we talked about it, that people had said that how good he was.
And we were saying someone that we could see in New Japan one day. I think we would bring up Dolph Ziggler here and there as someone that we think would be kind of interesting to see in New Japan. And I do think that match is a lot better than people said it was. And a lot of that, I did draw him the other day just for this reason, is David Finlay, I think he started kind of strong in this character, right, as the leader of the Bullet Club, and then it kind of waned off for a little. You're like, I don't know if this is going to work, but I think his last few months, he's been working really hard. And
I think that cage match really, really upped his stock quite a bit.
Absolutely. And then they take the title off him.
Yeah. I
just don't get it. It's almost as confounding as not letting Shota Umino win any matches.
Yeah, like you said, it's almost like a couple months too late. It's like a couple months ago. Okay, David Finlay's not working out. We're gonna find someone else. Blah blah blah. You do that, but then all of a sudden he starts getting some more heat, doing well, and then boom, you just cut the guy off.
Or just like have him take the title off of Evil.
Dude, he just beat Moxley. Bro. He just beat Moxley and Ospreay, two of the best wrestlers in our current generation.
Oh, okay.
Finlay, like a couple months ago.
That's true. Oh,
and
Finlay,
then he goes on to this cage match. Has one of the most intense, whether you liked it or not, it was one of the craziest matches in New Japan history. And he's the leader, and like all of a sudden, boom. And again, we like him. He's great, but
it's tailing off now. But it could be kind of feud of the year, the War Dogs and United Empire.
It was awesome at the time. So yeah, I don't know. I want to say let's see how this stuff plays out, but and I will say that, but it's hard, man. The next night,
the only thing I think of is they have these U.S. shows coming up in the next few months, like Resurgence and Tale of the Windy City, or whatever they're calling it, Windy City Riot.
That definitely has a lot to do with it, right?
So
they
maybe
want
they're
the American
just building
stars.
up some stuff for that. So
yeah, we'll see. The other night, I guess it would be remiss if I didn't bring up Okada's last match, but it was really not much of anything. So
the best part was
I don't really know what to say.
Yota Tsuji yelling at him at the commentary table. I don't know if you saw that.
What did he yell?
He said, "Are you happy with the way you're going out? You should be ashamed of yourself," kind of thing.
Damn.
Something like that.
He said that, huh?
Yeah.
What an asshole.
I don't know, man. I mean, for him to kind of just fizzle out with these tag matches, I don't know. It was just so anticlimactic,
They might have done that on purpose.
Yeah.
That's possible.
I mean, I think he called a shot.
We'll give you your win. We'll give you your wins, but like it ain't gonna be against no one big. I real quick, we're gonna take a sidebar because I don't know if we're gonna get to this. So let's put a bookmark right here,
sure.
And we're gonna talk about Tongaloa in a minute and Tamatonga. But I don't know if we're gonna get to this. So real quick, you got Sting's final match this Sunday, and it's become a really, really big deal, right? Would you agree?
Can I say something that's kind of cool about this? Is like, we're gonna have somebody's
the whole thing is cool.
Huh?
The whole situation's cool, dude.
Like I said, we're gonna have somebody's last match, and we know going in that it's probably not gonna be terrible. It's not
that
Ric Flair going out there in a muumuu bleeding.
Oh God!
Like,
Stop.
And it's
Passing out.
Because Sting, you feel like he's going to go out there and not embarrass himself. Like a lot of final matches are.
It's more than that. It's more than that because one, it's taking the Japanese style of doing a huge show on a retirement. WWE could have done this with many people. They do not believe in doing this type of thing. They could have done this with Kurt Angle. They could have said, let's do a show a month after WrestleMania, Kurt Angle's big retirement show, right? They could have done that. But instead they had him lose to Happy Corbin on, you know what I mean?
And dress up like cosplay as one of the members of the Shield.
Yeah. Oh, God, that too. So there's that. And so AEW now is saying, like, no, we're going to give this guy a huge, huge goodbye. And also the whole fact that he is doing way crazier shit than he's ever done in his career over the last year, too. So maybe you put it on just Sting. He's Sting. He does that. Who knows if we'll ever see a dude doing that? I mean, I don't know if John Moxley's going to be diving off of balconies when he's 60-something.
I mean, he's not just 60-something. He's like 67 or something. Wait, hold on. I don't see how old this thing is.
It's like 63 or 64, I
64.
think.
64.
64, Nintendo. Which is still ridiculous, dude.
He was born in the 50s, bro.
Bro, he's like almost double my age. Hang on, no, that'd be 44. So never mind.
No. He is definitely
74.
He's definitely old enough to be our fathers.
He's like 30 years older than me, dude.
Yeah, which is I had my first son at 30. Sting, if he would have had me, he would have been 24, which happens, a little young, but not outrageous.
It's crazy, dude.
So this is a guy that's a grandpa.
But the even bigger on this show, which by the way, that's not the only great match on the show, but we're not going to go over all that because it's this Sunday. If you're listening to this, you've seen the show. The one thing I want to ask you, and the one thing I think is most exciting about this retirement match.
Yeah.
We don't know who will actually win this match. Who's going to win this match?
Yeah. I mean, the Young Bucks are doing a fantastic job. Maybe some of their best character work since AEW started right now.
Do you send the crowd home happy and Sting does his final, promo after he wins and stays undefeated throughout his entire AEW career?
I think you can make a moment out of it where the Young Bucks turn face at the end as they win.
As they win?
Yeah.
But then what? They're going to hug it? People are going to boo that, though. If they win and then they hug.
No. They're going to... If the Young Bucks find a way to kind of... I wouldn't say a double turn. Maybe a single turn where they just have this great match and you see in the middle of the match how the respect level goes up and... the Young Bucks at one point can really go for the terrible kill, and they decide to throw him back in the ring and win it straight. You know what I mean? It could be something like that.
I could see something like that. So what I'm hearing, and no one knows if this is true or not, but so what people are assuming is that Sting probably wants to put them over really, really bad.
Yeah,
and
I think Sting would put them over. I don't think he's winning this final match. Or Darby turns on him. There we go.
Oh, dude, that would anger.
And then his final match becomes Sting and Darby.
But just remember, dude, it's like it's not about the match all by itself. It's about the post-match too. Think of Liger, and they did his post-match the next day they did his ceremony the next day on New Year's Dash, right?
I bet you too. They got Ric Flair there. He's gonna have a moment with Flair that's gonna make us all cry too.
Yeah, so
Ric Flair's got to get in front of a camera right now.
And a lot of people that were longtime fans said that the Muto retirement was actually the best show of the year if you had watched Muto for 30 years. You know what I mean? If you had, and so while we haven't watched, well, you probably have, but Sting has been around for your entire fandom. He's this modern day kind of amazing wrestler at an old age, and that post match, that's going to be if it's as emotional as I'm thinking that they're gonna try and make it, man, it could be one of the best wrestling experiences we've had. So.
Yeah, like I said, the fact that there's
Sold
someone's
out.
final match and we're not thinking it could be embarrassing and if he goes this way you can break a hip. Well, maybe we're still thinking that about Sting, but
Dude, I still think that, but I mean, at this point, they've been having him do crazy shit in the whole lead up.
dude, he's been jumping off balconies into dumpsters and shit. I mean, come on.
And also, I thought this was very interesting. And
it reminds me of
cool.
like when you have an older dog and you get like a younger dog to hang out with it, and
Oh,
it kind
God.
of extends its lifespan and makes it feel younger.
Plays
I really
with
think that's
it.
what Darby's done for him.
Probably, and they both do the face paint gimmick too, which is kind of cool. Now, I want to tell you some cool news I heard. I don't know if you had heard this, but this was very interesting to me, but also like a huge sign of respect, which is that I guess that Sting talked to Bret and Martha Hart before he came down from the rafters on Wednesday. Like he asked,
like he was on
her
the phone with them
permission.
before he came down.
Yeah, or text or whatever, and asked for permission.
Can you imagine if there's like a text group with Sting, Martha Hart, and Bret Hart?
and Bret Hart, Dave Meltzer?
Because I know
some
him and
old
Martha
people.
don't kind of get along, right?
Oh, I don't know about all that, bro.
He
I
said
mean,
some
I
rough-
imagine
well,
if you,
Bret will say rough stuff about anybody, but I know he's said some pretty rough stuff about Martha over the years.
look, I imagine if you're an active wrestler at that point, you have a pretty large social life, or if you want to, and you're in multiple group texts. So, I mean,
Yeah.
maybe I guess that, but you know, some people don't like the whole social thing. I feel like Randy Orton is not in a bunch of group texts, so we'll see. But very excited for that. Pulling the bookmark back and headed back to New Japan World. Yeah, so, and by the way, guys, that's Sunday, so that's going to be Revolution on Sunday at Greensboro Coliseum. Sold out show. So I'm interested. So Tama Tonga's last match. I thought this was a good match, and Tama Tonga cried his ass off at the end.
Very,
of it.
very fitting ending. For him, I
To
thought
his own
that was.
brother.
I mean, it was the kind of ending you'd expect Okada to have / want, right? It's just a moment in the ring and crying. He did his fair share of weeping.
He was
no?
very emotional, and you know what? He tried to play the tough guy too, and do the whole. And you could just see the tears just streaming down
Sure.
his eyes too.
Sure.
I was like, no promo, nothing like that. But man, as someone, he's been with us throughout our whole fandom, and we've
Tama.
seen him improve dramatically too over the years.
And I think Tama, like, you want a guy that was loyal.
Yeah,
Like, he was about as loyal as they came, and I think he had every opportunity to leave at its peak, and probably
oh, definitely
have a pretty good run if him and if he leaves for WWE in 2016,
He could have left with
17,
Nakamura. Yeah,
those guys are multiple time tag champs by now.
yeah.
God would have had a huge run in WWE. They would have been doing stuff with the New Day.
They would have been doing stuff with the Usos. They might
They would
have
been doing
been
stuff with
well,
the Usos.
and that's where we're gonna lead on to this. Now, Tongaloa was in WWE. Do you remember or know that?
He was
You
he
know,
was
okay.
a Mexicool or something, right?
Mexico.
I think we talked about it once.
Samoan guy. Yeah, I think we have.
Yeah.
So we've got Tama Tonga. He will be entering WWE system. So there's two directions here that are obvious. You either have the club with the Young Brothers, who are in NXT right now. Are they the Young Brothers? Is that what they're
Who's
called?
the Young
Really?
Brothers?
No, the Good Brothers. The Good Brothers.
Oh yeah, I think they're in. They have.
No, they're in NXT right now.
They have what's her name? Mia.
Oh, Michin.
Michin, right?
But I think they're in NXT by themselves. But yeah, you had the Good Brothers with Michin and AJ Styles.
And they're doing some
AJ
kind
Styles
of thing with AJ kind of peeling off from them, right?
Well, AJ Styles is because they went to NXT and AJ is feuding with Rickon or whatever the fuck his name is. LA Knight. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's a WrestleMania thing.
Probably.
But,
I mean,
so
you
you
AJ
have
Styles is starting to look like a human pack of cigarettes right now.
what does that mean?
Well,
he looks like a
he's got
square.
First of all, he got ripped out of no. I mean, not to say that the guy was ever in bad
He's
shape.
past his prime, bro.
got
He's
ripped
awesome.
out
He's
of
AJ
nowhere. Have you
Styles.
seen him lately?
Actually, I have. He's been wearing like black jeans and black
And-
boots.
I think he's spray tanning and all that stuff now. And
I think AJ probably goes through glow ups every year. Like, come
he's
on,
trying
dude.
to
He's
lengthen
AJ
himself. I
Styles.
think he's trying to up on the sups, if you know what I mean, the supplements right now, because he's
I don't necessarily
he's
blame
getting
him.
up there,
He's getting
trying
up
to
there.
stretch it out. He doesn't want to look like Jericho at 50.
At least he works at WWE. He can have these safer masks. That was fucked up what you just said, by the way. But
About
yeah,
Jericho,
a lot of
sorry,
wrestlers
I'm
have.
sorry. Jericho looks
a
great
lot
for
of-
any 50-year-old guy, but
No, but there was a period. But remember, he had that medical issue and stuff. But no, there was actually a lot of guys have had that. Like Randy Orton came back looking absolutely wild, ridiculous cut, and it's kind of cool.
it's a hard,
cool.
it's
cool
a hard
seeing-
thing to maintain. It's a hard thing to get to, let alone maintain.
Yeah, but a lot of these dudes have special genetics, though. Come on, let's be honest here.
Cowboy Bob was
Randy Orton was he's yeah, but so you could put Tama Tonga with the Mexicools, but I don't think they're around anymore. So I'm thinking you could either put him with the Good Brothers or you could put him straight into the Bloodline, dude.
So, but how does he tie to the bloodline? Because he's not
Because
really, it's a different country.
Haku. Nah, bro. Here's what you do: you go to Wikipedia because it's always right. Let's see, Wikipedia.
They're Tongan and Samoan. It's a different country.
It's called Polynesian, though. They all respect each other.
Oh,
I hope I don't get in trouble.
No,
for saying this.
every Samoan is related except for Samoa Joe. Don't you know that?
That's weird. They don't really expect, but he's Californian
Yeah,
also.
he's from Huntington Beach.
So
Fun fact about Samoa Joe is that Disneyland has this little tiki bird show, over by the Jungle Cruise, and I guess his family ran that. And
wait, start that again. Who had a?
so if you go to Disneyland, have you been
Go to Disneyland.
You know how they have
Never.
like this little tiki show over by the Jungle
I've been
Cruise?
I've been right next to it. I've literally stayed in a hotel in Anaheim right next to it and walked around to the convention center and stuff, but never been inside.
Right. Oh, you never been to Disneyland. Well, anyway, they have this like little bird show area, and I guess some kind of Polynesian dancing, and I guess his family used to be involved in that.
Oh
He
wow!
used to do it when he was a kid. So there you go.
Did not realize that. Very interesting.
Fun, the more you know, graphic comes over.
That's what I just.
So he's
actually,
from
I
Huntington
just told
Beach,
that to my
which
coworker.
is, Orange County area.
Yeah. Huntington Beach, and my roommate's from there. Yep. Yeah. By the way, just from the Wikipedia here on the Anoa'i family,
Yeah.
which is the bloodline, right?
Yeah.
It says Jimmy's children, Serena Snuka, known as Tamina, and Jimmy Snuka Jr., known as Deuce, have both wrestled for WWE. Dwayne Johnson considers Tonga Ula Fifta, known as wrestling as Haku, as his uncle. Tonga's sons are Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and Hikuleo.
Oh, okay. So
and their
there's a connection
cousin
there.
is
Okay.
known as Bad Luck Fale. Yeah.
Okay, I'd
he
say you just
considers
bring
Haku
Fale
his
over.
uncle. He considers Haku his uncle. So there's
Okay.
yeah, there's a quick little thing there too. And we'll see. Now, in that New Japan show moving a little forward, I thought the series of matches between just 5 guys and LIJ was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I really liked Doki Hiromu actually.
I really liked Doki Hiromu, especially the finish. Very that's the thing. Like Hiromu, I do want him to be championship, but if he loses to Doki as a non-champion and stuff, okay. Like
I don't
Doki
think it really
deserves
does
that after all
anything
this
bad
time.
for Hiromu. I think it's fine.
No.
If anything,
Hiromu at this point has transcended the division.
No, he's still the best of their generation for sure. And you got best of the Super Juniors coming up soon, right?
April, yeah.
April. So you're kind of building up something for that, and hopefully they get somebody like Speedball Mike Bailey to come back and all that.
I know. Leo Rush as well, but who knows,
Yeah, I can't really count on Leo. I mean, he's just not.
Well, that's what I'm saying by that,
Yeah.
but I mean, he's good every time.
Yeah,
but
he
it's
is.
hard because it's
He's a great performer. He
little,
just,
little like ACH, but ACH actually doesn't wrestle at all anymore, really. So
I think. You see, the problem with Leo is that he's just not. He can't. I don't know. It's like obviously I don't know him or anything, but he falters in and out. And
he's flaky, and that may have to do with his mental health and stuff. So, like you said, we can't comment too much on it. We can only know what we see and hear. And
all I know is that when
we hope the best for everyone.
All I know is that when he's out there, he gives it everything. No matter where he's been, you can never say the guy doesn't give effort.
Do you remember when he played Spider-Man in AAA?
Oh, no, but that makes sense.
And who was it? Played like Hulk was, of course,
Brian Cage.
Brian Cage played Hulk. Yeah.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Well, that's who I would pick.
We need to do a whole wrestling and episode on gimmick fucking wrestlers. Like so many video game characters have been wrestlers. The Ninja Turtles. Okay, wait, did that happen?
Yeah, the WWE was running these guys out there in Ninja Turtle outfits.
Do you remember Hawk from Virtua Fighter?
Yeah.
Wrestled in Japan.
Well, don't forget, Glacier was a Sub-Zero ripoff.
Okay, but he was a ripoff. He wasn't a sponsored character.
Oh, okay. Actual characters. Okay.
So when I was watching All Japan, I feel like
you haven't seen those memes.
Maybe it was
Elmo
New
wrestling?
Japan. Elmo, if he wrestled, then no, there was Devil Boy. Devil Boy wrestled, or is his name named Devil Boy or Satan
Hellboy?
Boy or whatever? Hellboy, yeah, he wrestled. It was like, we need to do a whole. And then there was a time too where not Michinoku, where Suzuki pile drove a robot into a lake or something. So
and
there's a whole
fight Godzilla or something.
No, well, maybe, but Ibushi was Tiger Mask W. And then he went against ACH as Tiger Mask Black or whatever. So there's a lot. And Tiger Mask and Liger were both sponsored characters originally. So we'll have to talk about that later. There's a lot to talk about there. Shingo versus Tai Chi. I thought that was a good match. Very good match, actually.
Yeah. Can't go wrong with those two.
Tsuji versus Uemura. I thought was really good, although not as good as I thought it would be, to be honest.
I kind of want to see them building up against veterans. Like, I would have actually... You mentioned that match before. Tai Chi. I would have rather have seen Tai Chi and Uemura and Shingo and... Or, you know what I mean? Like... Maybe Uemura and Shingo.
Or no, Tai Chi versus Tsuji and Takagi
Tsuji.
versus Uemura.
Yeah, and I think that would have been, let's see them work with, get some older guys to put them over.
They need those older reps in those.
I mean, I understand it's tempting to have them kind of start this rivalry that can carry on through their whole careers, and I do think the right guy won, by the way.
I think the right guy won too. I totally agree, and they both have beautiful hair, so it really
him.
Oh yeah, it's way more important for Tsuji.
So
I feel bad for you know what though, I feel bad for Yuya because one, he got. Do you know how he got kicked out of TNA?
No.
Do you know their gimmick where they do the like hired or fired fucking thing every year?
With a spin wheel or something.
Kind of like that. I think what it is you wrestle and it's like a. If I'm wrong, someone please tell me. I think it's like a wrestle and you grab stuff.
Audience that talks to us, but yeah, go ahead.
You grab stuff on a pole, right? And like once you grab something on a pole, you're out of the match, right? And then those things, like one of those might have a championship in it, and one of them like has a straight up you're fired in it.
And that's what he got.
I think he got fired. So he got. It's called like feast or famine matches or something like that.
That was him. That was a reason for him to come back from excursion, though. So that's fine.
Well, yeah, of course it's kayfabe, but just act with me here. It's like the guy got fired. He lost his hair. He's not doing too well,
with
bro.
The short hair, anyway.
Well, the thing about it is, see, I like shaving my head too, and I know that. Okay, so I like as someone with the hair, like I like shaving my head sometimes because then you can just style it however you want over the next year. You know what I mean? You can do the short hair, you can do the long hair after a year, so whatever. And then Sonata Naito. I didn't watch the match, bro. I didn't even watch it.
I watched some of it because, like, that's the really tough thing about staying up for these live New Japan matches. Is like,
This show was early, bro.
You wish you could watch it. Well, I know, but it still goes to 2 in the morning.
Okay.
So by 1 o'clock, you're fading. That's when all the good stuff is coming, right?
That's how when I worked first shift. Yes. Like now that I don't work, yeah. But like I remember watching Wrestle Kingdom and like the main events. Like I'd start fading and I'd be like, no, I gotta watch it.
Yeah.
You're fighting, and if it's good enough, you'll stay up.
We saw the sloppy Sonata, and I want to kind of say like, and there's no build to it, and I don't know. I don't know why they had to run that back. Why couldn't we have Tai Chi with the title shot? You know, maybe if he didn't give a shit, he should just let Tai Chi have it. Then I don't know why there had to be another.
I don't think having Sonata do the immediate rematch is that bad because it's just a generally good match, but also Sonata
it was a very subpar. I mean, the main event
that's
was
the
okay.
thing. That's the thing. I didn't watch it, so what am I saying? I just thought. I
think we've been spoiled over the years. We're just used to when there's a big show, we know we're going to.
It's always a good match,
5-star match, and I don't know. Is some of that Naito? Like, I mean, I know he's getting up there and he's probably banged up, but
it's like the whole state of wrestling nowadays. Our expectations are ridiculously high. The wrestling now, like Meltzer says, like if you had like a low level match on today's cards that was on a show in the 80s, people would talk about it for 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's the level of wrestling. The expectations are so high. Justin, I want to get your predictions real quick, and maybe talk about one more thing before we get out of here real quick. So put your Johnny Carson amazing Svengali cap on. Is that okay. What was Johnny Carson's thing called? His gimmick with the hat?
The genie thing?
Yeah. Don't remember.
No, it's off the tip of my tongue. I'll get it. Like Karnak or something?
The great Karnak the Magnificent.
Karnak, yes.
Karnak the Magnificent. So we're going to do that. Great gimmick, by the way. Johnny Carson for younger people.
Watch.
Amazing. Extremely funny host. Mm-hmm. But for the time. We are going to get your Karnak the Magnificent takes on the New Japan Cup. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the matches to you. You're going to give me your take all the way to the finals. Are you ready? So this is Justin's takes. Well, I know you don't know. That's why you're about to decide. I'm going to give it to you, and then you make the decision.
Okay.
All right. Let me check this. All right. First, we got Yoshihashi versus Kenta.
Yoshihashi, so they can set up a title shot with the tag.
For tag?
Yeah. And Kenta probably can't do a whole tournament anymore.
Shota Umino versus Jack Perry.
Ooh.
It's horrible placement.
Yeah, why can't that be like a quarter?
Why would you put that at the beginning?
So you can main event it one night, I guess.
Or at least like a quarter or semis. That seems like a bad opening.
What's on the others? Who would they face the winner of?
Yano and Takahashi. Yujiro. That sounds bad too.
I'm gonna say Shoto.
You think they're gonna fly Jack Perry Japan to fucking job him out on night one, huh?
Yeah. Well,
wow. Okay.
Or maybe you'll have some kind of bullshit. I just don't see putting Jack Perry against one of those idiots that are both heels. Or well, I guess Yano's not.
I'll just I'll keep Shota.
We're gonna see
here
Jack
for you,
Perry and Yano in the second. So
I see. So you think Jack Perry's going to win now?
yeah, and he'll end up getting the win back at Resurgence or something like that.
I think that they're right now they have a huge boner for foreign wrestlers.
Yeah, apparently they do.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, at least only one of them is a druggie.
Cry me a river. So you think Toru Yano will beat Takahashi? I agree.
Yes.
Hopefully that's the case. TJP versus David Finlay.
Finley.
Yep. Tongaloa. I'm going to take your answers, but if I disagree with you, I'll just tell you why. But we're doing your answers, and we'll see who wins the whole thing.
Okay.
Tongaloa versus the Great Okan. Who will face Finlay? Tongaloa or Great Okan?
I think it's going to be Tongaloa.
Have you seen that meme going around about Haku laughing at Tongaloa's horrible offense?
I have. And I think this is a great chance to push Great Okan a little bit, but they're going to smother it. And I really think Tama, wouldn't leave those guys there without knowing they're going to be taken care of, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Whoa, did you just zoom in your mic? Whoa.
Yeah. I was just
that
moving.
No, from my angle, it looked like your camera zoomed in. I was like, what the fuck?
That's that new Mac.
Okay.
It's beautiful.
I know. It's very nice. It sounds good. The camera is just so much better. Yeah. We went back to the old one, and it's funny, on the old one, I cannot recognize anything behind you. On the new one, I can see in detail. You got the puff guy right there, the marshmallow, or whatever, the puff guy.
Oh, Stay
you got
Puft.
your Naito. Yeah. You got your Naito that Maria drew right up there,
yes,
right?
I do.
See, the fact that I can even see that is incredible. Yeah. Okay. Ishii versus Chase Owens. This person will face Goto.
I think they're going to give it to Chase, because then he'll lose to Goto and they'll have to do the title shot. You
know what, bro? You're setting it up here, because I see how it works. Goto and Owens with, okay, Yoshihashi. With Yoshihashi, who will face, again, he said Kenta.
We both have Honma winning, right? The whole thing?
We'll see. Let's get through it, because maybe. Hikuleo or Bolton Oleg, who will face Evil?
It's going to be Hikuleo. Who I like. Hikuleo's come a long way.
Some of these... he's come a long way, dude. I remember people used to say he was actually a horrible wrestler. No, he's way better. And then him and El Phantasmo have a great dynamic too.
Definitely.
With the huge guy and the normal sized guy, athletic type of. All right, Shingo Takagi versus Yuya Uemura. Ooh, this could be a good one.
See, that's what we could have used in the New Beginning, huh? Or whatever it was called.
Exactly.
I think this will be a good match. Or it's a big chance for Uemura. Let's give the kid a win.
And Uemura will then face who? Gabe Kidd or Callum Newman, who is very good and very impressive right now.
I'm going to go with Gabe Kidd. I think this is a chance to put
Gabe Kidd is so next level, because Gabe Kidd actually he actually makes me think that he's actually fucking wild.
Yeah,
I'm not convinced. He's really blurring the lines.
I really think
he has that catchphrase. What is this catchphrase? They call me a madman, or something like that.
Right. He's nuts, man. And I think he might have tapped into some of his mental issues to get this character, to be honest.
And he's also like, he might legit be from the streets, bro. Like the way he talks and acts and stuff.
So good.
So great seeing that. We got Tsuji versus Jeff Cobb. Yoda Tsuji versus Jeff Cobb.
That's another pretty cool match. I think Tsuji's gonna win this too.
Me too. And we're just hoping these young guys get a chance to show some more.
This is the chance to push the young kids into this bracket.
ELP versus Mikey Nichols.
I think ELP.
Yeah. Although Mikey Nichols has some has had some actually okay matches over the last year. Like he's not like I used to just think of him as like forgettable guy number 4, like creator wrestler, you know. But,
well, that's what they seemed like when they were in NXT, but they've definitely shown a lot more.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. By the way, can I say this with did Dolph Ziggler do that move where he does like 15 elbow drops in a row? Was that a WWE thing that he did?
Probably. I don't remember that specifically taking place in the match.
That looks so physically difficult. Elbow drop, get up. 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 Yeah, I was like, I saw that and I was like, damn, that's like a workout in itself. Tai Chi versus Ren Narita.
So
I'm sure he's dated a lot of people, dude.
Okay, go ahead.
I actually heard stuff about him from like an influencer that had supposedly been with him. I think he's been around the block with a lot of Hollywood like randos. As John Cena was. I'm sure he's had some NDAs out there too. Okay, so Tai Chi versus Ren Narita. I say Ren Narita. I'm going for the young guy again.
I think all the kids are going to advance and be the story. Hopefully.
Okay, round 2.
Is Zack
Ren Narita
in this?
No, I'm moving on to round 2. Every champion gets a bye,
you
bro.
mean the other bracket? Oh, right. Okay, good. Okay.
Ren Narita versus Zack Sabre Jr.
We're Zack.
Zack right now, I think, is on the cusp of seemingly becoming IWGP champion.
I think he is one of the favorites for this, and I also think he's an early favorite for the G1.
He's already won this, right?
Yeah. He's won this multiple times. I want to say 3 times?
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't hate him winning this and then him winning the belt.
No.
At his shot. I wouldn't hate that at all. Stranger things have happened. Okay, so... And then Zack will face the winner. Okay. Let me just think here. Okay, having brain problems here. No, we chose ELP and Tsuji. Okay, Zack will face the winner of ELP and Tsuji. So Zack Sabre Jr., who will win between Yoda Tsuji and ELP?
Wow. Let's go with Yoda.
That's kind of a coin toss, huh?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I can see they can both look good coming. I think Tsuji can look good coming out of it, but I mean, they're going nuts right now. But I think ELP wouldn't necessarily get hurt from a loss, and I think Yoda would need it more.
Okay. Uemura versus Kid.
That's going to be fun, isn't it? Maybe you are.
That's going to be pretty awesome. I'm still going with Kid, though. I could see him going far in this tournament.
We'll go with Kid.
Yeah. Next. It's going to Hikuleo versus Evil.
I'm going to go with Evil.
So, if we get to this point and we have Evil versus Kid, I guess it'll be interesting to see what it means to be in the Bullet Club or in War Dogs or whatever.
I think they're separate now. I don't see any co-branding with.
They're not
House
called
of
the
Torture.
Bullet Club. They're called the House of Torture.
Yeah, I think they've silently separated them without any. We were supposed to get this tremendous Civil War thing. They just kind of brushed that aside. They're not together.
Yeah. Owens versus Goto. You said you think Goto and Yoshihashi will win these, right?
Yes.
I think that'd be great. I'd love that.
And plus, you have to keep in mind that we need some Japanese guys to advance in this thing.
That's true too, bro. There's definitely a lot of good foreigners right now. Yeah. It's these young guys need to step up. They need to be booked differently.
To be stepped up.
Finley versus Tongaloa.
Finley.
Yep, that's what I got too. Okay, so we're going to Jack Perry versus Yano.
Let's send him on an airplane home after losing to Yano. How about that? No, I think Jack Perry will probably advance.
I was totally okay with that too, bro. I was like, fuck it. Why not?
God, I can totally, see I don't know, man. I really think we need to see a Zack Sabre Juno Umino final.
Zack Sabre versus who?
Umino.
Shota?
Yeah. Is that possible
awesome
with the bracket?
No. No, because
they would have to meet in the semis or something.
Shota. Because we had Jack Perry beating. No, it's possible. They could do that in the finals. Yeah, that's possible. They're on separate sides.
I might have to go back and change the Jack Perry thing, but we'll see.
Yeah. So, who's going to face Jack Perry? The winner of Sonata and Yoshihashi. Oh, I think Sonata's going to win this one, and he's going to go against Jack Perry once again.
Right.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then do you see Jack Perry winning and getting his win back?
Where does that put him in the bracket? In the semifinals?
They'll be in the final four.
Sure.
God, like you said, there's a lot of foreigners here. Yeah. Finley versus Goto, and then you would guess Finley, I guess. Yeah. But like you said, we're almost out of Japanese people at this point. So, Jack Perry versus Finley. Evil versus Kid. You pick Evil, right? God,
yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah, they're going to put Evil there.
And then Tsuji versus Zack. Now, we could have Zack win the G1, or you could have Tsuji beat him in the semis.
Who the fuck was the New Japan?
What do you think?
It really depends.
Who's going to go against Evil? Who's going to go against Evil?
You know what? I think we have to have Shoto and Evil in the semifinal because he's got to get that win back.
Shota?
Yeah.
So you need me to redo the whole tournament?
No, you just need to take Shota and put him in the place of Jack Perry.
We'll pretend like no, they're on different sides. Jack Perry and wait, are they? Jack Perry and Finley. Yeah, Jack Perry and Finley are on the left side. Evil's on the right side.
Oh, I see.
We're confusing the fuck out of people.
Let's just finish and not talk about and see where we end up. Yeah.
Well, let's just talk about who we think we could see
finishing
Jack Perry
and
off.
Evil?
No, it'd be Jack Perry versus Sonata. Oh. And then it would be Jack Perry versus... Yeah.
Okay.
Someone else. I've got it kind of confused and mixed up, bro. I'm not good at tournaments like this. Let's talk about we kind of did our rankings up till then, but you said there's some situations that you could see. You could see Umino versus going against Zack Sabre in the end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see something like that. I could see. I'm trying to think who could go against ZSJ at the end besides that. Yeah, I think you're right. Jack Perry, Umino.
I don't think
Those
you're
are
gonna
probably
have
the
an
two
all.
ones.
You're not gonna have an all foreigner final.
And that's what confused me too. And almost all the new Japanese stars, the Three Musketeers,
I
are
have
on
the
the
bracket
right
up
side
here,
of the
too.
bracket. All the young Japanese stars are on the right side of the bracket, except Shota. But Yuya, Tsuji, and Ren Narita are on the right side. So they're all going to have to come against each other at some point.
I think we have Shota in the finals. I know the whole Jack Perry thing. I don't know why they have to throw that in there. But along the way, he beats Jack Perry, and that can set up a match. Wait. Okay. So
He beats Jack Perry, and he beats Jack Perry, and he beats David Finlay. Is what
and
you're
the
saying?
winner of this gets a title shot at Sakura Genesis, right?
Probably.
When is Sakura Genesis? Is that in April?
It's April 6th.
When
So.
is the Windy Sea at Riot? April 13th?
Oh, that's a whole issue too.
So that makes the
And
Naito Moxley match
Sonata. I know.
not for the title.
No, they said they want to do it for the title.
Right. So that would kind of mean that whoever wins the New Japan Cup is probably not going to win.
Oh, I hate that
So-
they're telling us all this.
Yeah. So maybe it's
So
not
is
the
it-
best thing to make ZSJ win this.
Maybe Shota does win it and goes on to lose. And the New Japan Cup winner usually loses, I believe, right? Is that
Well, Sonata.
is that just from our mindset? Sonata
won
okay.
it last year and won the title.
Yeah. But they we're thinking of like who's going to win the title leading into Wrestle Kingdom next year.
Yeah.
Is it going to be John Moxley? Or are we going to get ZSJ, so...
ZSJ
There's a lot
John
here.
Moxley would be an amazing main event, but I don't think they're going to do it with two foreigners.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's a lot here. And actually the whole thing is kind of breaking my brain. But generally
They're really throwing the curve in with having Jack Perry and Umino face each other in the first round, aren't they?
I know, that's the one that gets me because we know they have a huge thing for foreigners. But it's almost, there's a lot of coping from us though, and like us thinking that they really want to push Shota. And I just saw this whole post that was like showing how they haven't really pushed him at all.
Like pushed him
I've
off
seen
the
this
cliff,
whole post.
basically.
They pushed him like off a cliff, and he got this whole different gimmick, and
Well, do we trust them to do this where it pays off and have him win the New Japan Cup? By the way, how do you feel about the haircut?
I don't mind it because I never liked his like tight pants that didn't fit properly with the long hair. So I kind of like him doing so. Look, I love when wrestlers mix it up a lot. So as long as he mixes it up every year, I'm cool. Well, what's your criticism?
See, the thing is that his hair is a little bit too much like Naito's.
Okay.
Right? And mostly because of the color and and everything, but he did look good with it. He's a good looking dude, and the short hair just I don't know. It's a little too like styled.
You know what? I think as long as a wrestler is badass, they can get a lot of weird shit over. So
there was this really
we'll
cool Shota Umino
see.
shirt that I was thinking about getting, where he has that hair. And now that he cut it, it kind of
you're like, ah.
There's I don't know if you've heard of Nerd. Okay, I'll show you. I know we're sidetracked
Wait.
here, but
No, Rev Pro. It's not a Rev Pro shirt.
No.
It's okay if we sidetrack because we're about to sidetrack the show.
It's called
right
Nerd Clothing. They do New Japan stuff, and they have this just wonderful 90s style Shota shirt that I just love. Isn't that cool?
Did you post it?
I'm holding it up to the camera.
Oh yeah, that's cool. If he gets money for it, it's cool.
Well, they have a license with New Japan.
Feeling he's not getting. I was saying you're okay to take this off the rails because we're about to take this show right off the air, so that's okay.
No Elimination Chamber?
I don't feel like talking Elimination Chamber right now. What do you want to talk? Rhea Ripley? She's actually cool. I didn't mean her. I mean Nia Jax. Hey, I'll give you my quick Elimination Chamber. Tiffany Stratton is over as hell.
You know what? This is something I've been meaning to tell you. She's really good, man. I know I've kind of manned her to you, and over the
time. I've been very skeptical of her, but I mean,
no. You were singing her praises since we went to the show out here.
Yeah.
So, I want to say she is really good.
It's the improvement in the small amount of time, and also, well, the look.
She's a real athlete.
Obviously, the thing about the look is she looks like a girl from the Attitude Era. She looks like someone they would choose, but she's not just a model. You know what I mean?
Though?
She's a real wrestler.
At first glance, you can say that about her, but you gotta look a little deeper, and then you can see beyond that.
Well, and also she's over as hell. Like they were cheering for her. She's in the pod and they're yelling "Tiffy time, the whole crowd. So yeah. I don't have a whole lot to say about all that. Except we just had. I mean, if you want to talk about like stuff that just happened, I mean, we have the tag team match now official, right?
Official
for The Rock and Roman versus Cody and that other dude that no one cares about. So
poor Seth.
Yeah. Seth, yeah. Dude. So Rey Mysterio reappeared. So there we got WrestleMania season coming up. We're going to talk all about that. We've got just one quick note, which is that CMLL, like a ton of their guys may have lost their visas. And this is horrible, dude, because these CMLL guys, one, they're amazing, and two, they can't come to America, and they could get banned from America, dude. You remember what happened? Because they got their visa out of some indie in California that didn't do it properly.
Oh, dear.
So, Hechicero. Did you watch Hechicero? Or you've heard the name, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. No. Do you know what that means in Spanish?
Made in nothing.
Hechicero. No, it's not hecho in Mexico. No, hechicero just means sorcerer, right? Like maje means mage. He's a sorcerer. But him, Mystico, Sobrano Jr., like all these stars that have been coming in, they might get banned the worst part is AEW's been using them like crazy. And the other part
of Mike Bailey treatment, huh?
Exactly. Maybe. We'll see. And I heard a crazy story too about, check this out, like, you know, the not Bailey, but the Bollywood brothers, you know them, the stalwarts.
They used to come with what's his fuck?
Yes, that guy.
Jinder Mahal.
Great gimmick. Yeah, but they've been indie wrestlers forever, pretty much.
Randy Orton almost killed one of them, right? Yeah.
Yeah. They but here's the thing about them. They're like the Young Bucks. Their careers are intertwined. Do you understand what I mean by that?
Okay. Yeah.
They're brothers, right?
They're together. Yeah.
Tag team. So both of them, who have been working only together for like years and years and years and years, they put in both of their visa applications, and one got accepted and one got denied.
Oh no.
And they had like all the exact same references, and you know what I mean. So it ends up
Weird.
Dave Meltzer had to end up writing a recommendation for one of them to get
That's
in.
cool of him.
So the whole system is pretty weird. In Canada, for example, you don't have to get a visa to perform if you're a performer, but America's different, obviously.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it is really sad because I've been paying attention to a lot of lucha lately, and I am convinced that CMLL is like the place in Mexico. Like real talented guys coming out of there, like super talented.
Well,
And
for sure, yeah.
but I mean, compared to AAA is what I'm saying. Like I think AAA is not that good. You have your a couple good wrestlers from there, but like
Well, they have
CMLL is.
Pentagon.
They had Pentagon and they had Vikingo, right? Like there's good guys there, but for the most part, like the young boys and the people going up, I feel like in CML there's much more of like almost a Japanese style of wrestling, almost a little bit more of a seriousness to it, if that makes any sense. A little less carny, and we can talk about that more, but seeing these 15, and I've been watching like all the wrestlers, and I've been just as impressed as CMLL as I have been with any company. Yeah, all the wrestlers, all the masked guys. You have all these totally different dudes who have completely different styles, and so we'll see, man. I hope they don't get banned from America because that sucked for Mike Bailey and these wrestlers. 5 years is a long time in a wrestler's career, dude.
Yeah, it is.
So, like you said, like when CMLL goes to Japan, that's when they make their money. Bro, when they come to America, that's when they make their money too, So,
Well, yeah. I mean,
On a quick
that's
side
where they
note,
get their they get the biggest audience, at least a lot of eyes, exposure, if you will.
I don't know if that's always true, bro, because they do indie shows and stuff, and they do Arena Mexico shows with thousands.
No,
and
they do,
thousands
but I
of
think
people.
when you
And
get
TV.
American television exposure, that's millions of people right away that's seeing your product.
If you mean AEW, then yes, I agree.
yeah,
That is huge
What I'm saying,
exposure.
yeah, that's what I'm saying is the fact that they're using them so much for AEW, is very
Yeah.
not maybe they don't get paid as much as they, but it definitely like raises their fees on the indies out here.
Someone came up to me the other day and said, why is it that Russia has such cheap groceries? And I'm not going to go into why he asked me that, but do you know why? Okay. Well, no, I just told him, I said, it's a much more poor country. In places that are more poor, where people make less money, things are cheaper. I mean, and then the companies that sell the things are more poor. I mean, I said, like, you can go to Nigeria for $5, you can have a pretty good meal. And this is not, I'm not like making any kind of controversial statement. You can go and look at McDonald's Nigeria, Google Translate, all that stuff. You can do the transitions you can do the dollar to transaction, the ratios and stuff, and you can see it's just how it is. Things are cheaper in poorer countries, and America is pretty much like one of the richest countries of all time, dude. So yeah, things are a little more expensive here, and like I don't know where this is leading me to say, but I guess like I'll put it this way: in Arena Mexico,
You get what
like
you pay
tickets
for.
not necessarily, because no, in Arena Mexico the front row tickets are like $30. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then you go to AEW and the front row tickets are like $500.
Yep.
So, yeah, when you said that those guys are making good money in Japan and stuff, I thought about it and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Japan is a very rich country, So,
yeah.
anyway,
Definitely.
I have something to ask you about that after the pod, something private. If you're wondering what it is, guys, email us. Besides that, we've gone. Since we did a Friday show, we had like amazing amount of energy, of course.
Yeah, man.
So I'm glad for that, and we don't have to think about it the rest of the weekend. So that's good shit. Yeah. Justin, you are at InRing Art on Instagram.
Yep.
And Twitter.
Yep.
Cool.
X.
And X. No, I did name Twitter. I don't care. And then, yeah, so, okay. Well, besides that, yeah, that's about all. I will see you guys later.
Sweet dreams.